Hello and hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today I'm going to find out the answer, finally, to the age-old question I've been asking myself since the day I was born. Why are so many European royal families German? Why is that? Okay, I could sit here and lie and say I knew that. To be honest, I'm not going to lie. I don't lie. I try not to lie. I didn't even know most, or like, European royal families were German. I didn't know that was a thing that was a reality. I didn't know any of their ethnicity. But now that I know that, based on reading this title, that got me curious. Like, oh, they are? Why is that? So I think, I'm still very interested in the answer now that I know it. It's from a small and up-and-coming YouTube channel, History Matters. History Matters. Link down below. Check them out.
In 1914, all of these countries in Europe were ruled by monarchs.
That's interesting. To be honest, I never really fully appreciated until right now just how common the monarchy structure was, that system. Okay, I've appreciated it. Let's move on.
And these were ruled by monarchs of a German royal family. Quite
The heck?
a lot. And given that some of these rulers could trace their houses back 1,000 years and others mere decades, why were so many of them German? So a lot of this can be explained by one thing: the late unification of Germany. At the turn of the 18th century, the German-speaking parts of Europe weren't unified like the French, English or Spanish-speaking parts. It was divided into numerous smaller states, many of which had their own monarchies. And these monarchs would marry off their kids to whoever would have them. A Prussian princess married the Prince of Orange, a Brunswicker duchess married the King of Denmark.
Wait, so if you're like in a royal family, do you actually have to marry? Like, I feel like I should know this. I kind of know that from like Aladdin, you know, the princess, she's supposed to marry a prince, but I didn't know that was actually a thing. You're actually supposed to marry another royal person? That's funny. You really don't have that many options then, do you? Damn. I guess that's kind of what that movie's about, now that I think about it.
Have them. A Prussian princess married the Prince of Orange, a Brunswicker duchess married the King of Denmark, a Badener duchess married the King of Sweden, and one from Mecklenburg married the King of the United Kingdom. Given that all of these monarchies only really paid lip service to their overlords, the Holy Roman Emperors, there wasn't much risk in marrying them. Whereas marrying someone in the French royal family could cause issues with inheritance, which France, unlike the small German states, could press. And, over time, childless or female heirs would mean a near relative would succeed the throne, and they would be a member of their father's often German house. But what about countries individually? Well, the United Kingdom's monarchy had previously been Anglo-Saxon, French, Welsh and Scottish. After a flirt with Catholicism, English nobles called upon William of Orange to seize the throne from James II. He did, and Catholics were then banned from becoming ruler. William also didn't have any children, and so the throne went to his sister-in-law, Anne. She continued the streak of not having an heir and died childless, and so the throne passed to her cousin's son, George of Hanover, her closest Protestant relative.
Man, reacting to this channel is hard. I feel like I've done it or tried to before, and it's like, wow, he throws a lot of information at you. Maybe I've just got a low clock speed on my brain. But it's like, I'm still processing what he said here.
II. He did, and Catholics were then banned from becoming ruler. William also didn't have any children, and so the throne went to his sister-in-law, Anne. She continued the streak of not having an heir and died childless, and so the throne passed to her cousin's son, George of Hanover, her closest Protestant relative, thereby beginning the Hanoverian dynasty, which would be succeeded by the Saxe-Coburg and Gotha dynasty, which would soon after change its name to Windsor when all things German suddenly became less popular. In Denmark,
oh yeah, I knew that.
Throughout most of its history, its monarchy was an elective one. But when King Christopher III made the mistake of dying without an heir, the nobles had to pick somebody new. As such, they chose Christian, who was the son of the Duke of Schleswig, a region with a sizable German-speaking minority which Denmark had a close relationship with, and one it wanted to keep. This began the House of Oldenburg, which still reigns to this day, and also...
He keeps saying house, and I mean, I'm not at all familiar with monarchies, so I don't even know what that means. Like a house. What exactly does that mean? Is that different than the family? I noticed it in the description down here, you know, we're from German houses.
So in Norway. Although Norway chose a Danish prince for their throne when it split from Sweden in 1905. The German and Austrian imperial families both have their origins in the Holy Roman Empire. The Hohenzollerns were from Zollern here, and the Habsburgs were unsurprisingly from Habsburg here in what's now Switzerland. Both slowly over the centuries increased their holdings and titles from counts to dukes to archdukes and kings before emperors. There wasn't a lot of opportunity for outside royal houses to advance in the Holy Roman Empire, and so these families just stayed German. The last major power which had a German royal family was Russia. Peter the Great was a Romanov, as was his daughter Empress Elizabeth I. She died childless and the throne passed to her nephew Peter III.
So does a country only have one royal family? Is that a stupid question? So the royal family in Russia was German? God, I'm just realizing I know nothing about monarchies and how they're structured. Nothing.
Empress Elizabeth I. She died childless and the throne passed to her nephew Peter III. Peter's father was the Duke of Holstein and thus he was a part of that house. Now,
and what is a duke? You know what? Duke. Not the university. Dang it. Duke royalty. The rulers of the provinces and the superiors of the counts in the cities. Okay. A male title either of a monarch ruling over a duchy or of a member of a royalty or nobility. Okay, dukes are ranked below emperors, kings, grand princes, and grand dukes, and above sovereign princes. I'm not going to lie, I thought there were just like kings and queens and princes and princesses. Royalty house consists monarchs. I feel like there should be an of there, but okay. Who are related to one another, as well as their non-reigning descendants and spouses. Okay. A family title or family name. So it's kind of indistinguishable from just the royal family, the royal house. I think.
Peter and his wife Catherine kept the name Romanov to tie themselves to their empire and its people, and that royal family stayed in power until, you know, a thing happened. So what about all of these smaller nations? Well, these nations all came into existence in the 19th century with the oversight of the great powers, who, as a result, got to choose who would be king. The first was Greece. Britain, France and Russia all had a stake in the new country, and thus they all wanted an ally on the throne. As such, after their first choice said no, they picked Prince Otto of Bavaria, who wasn't aligned with any of them. Next was Belgium, which, as a buffer state between Prussia and France, couldn't be aligned with either. As such, the British chose Leopold of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, husband of the king's niece, to keep the two close to ensure Belgium's independence. Romania had a German monarch after its first ruler, a native Romanian, became somewhat despotic and was overthrown in a coup. The new country had only recently broken away from the Ottoman Empire. And so, to maintain its independence, its nobles picked a prince from the Prussian Hohenzollern royal family. This essentially guaranteed their independence from Russia, the Ottomans and the Austrians next door. And for Bulgaria, the reasons were similar. At first, it was ruled by the nephew of the Russian emperor, but he got himself overthrown after being terrible. He was replaced by an Austrian-backed candidate which, unlike Romania, was fine because Austria-Hungary wasn't on the border with them. And after this, these royal families remained in place until either today or their eventual ousting in the 20th century. I hope you enjoyed this episode.
I don't know if enjoyed is the right word, but it sure was informational. I tried to keep up with it. I can say that. And it was interesting. And now I feel like I kind of loosely understand that it's because of a network of alliances and situations going on in Europe that made like electing, or I don't know what you call it, but putting a German family in charge was a smart decision. Damn. Fun fact, the Bulgarian Tsar, Simon II, who held this title for a very short time from his father's death in 1943 into the Communist Revolution in 1944, actually became Prime Minister of Bulgaria and served as such from 2001 to 2005. I was a young kid when it happened, but I remember how much people used to talk about it. It's not every day a monarch comes back to his country some 60 years later to be elected democratically. Wow. Thank you for watching. And go check out History Matters, because it does. I'll see you guys tomorrow.